There's been a lot of talk about avian influenza, and today joining me is Dana Zook, one of our state extension specialists, who's here to share with us a little bit about what we need to know concerning our backyard chickens. Dana, thank you for joining us. So how are our chickens doing? What do we need to know?
They look great. So the chickens here are fantastic, but we have avian influenza.
Right, and it's in the state.
It is in the state.
It's been identified. So what are some of the things that backyard chicken farmer might need to know about?
Well, it's important to be aware of the disease. It's high path avian influenza is what we say. It exists in our wild birds in all 4 flyways across the United States. So currently the wild birds that we see, the ducks, the geese, they could potentially have avian influenza. And so anytime there's any interaction with those, we could be transferring that disease.
Okay, and they're migrating right now, so that's a little bit of the concern, right?
Yes, they're migrating. So they're flying over, and so having a roof like this over your kind of outdoor enclosure is excellent. It may not be the best time for free-range birds. I think we're asking producers to keep them inside or keep them enclosed for the next couple months to minimize the spread.
So we're socially distancing our chickens,
right? To a certain extent, we're socially distancing our herds, right? Yes.
So keep them covered, keep them contained, no free range as much right now.
Yeah.
What if we start seeing signs? I mean, what are the signs we're looking for for avian influenza?
So signs of avian influenza can be a wide array of things. So you may not necessarily see it in a wild bird, but it really impacts our domestic birds. And so you can see it neurologically. So they could be have strange positions of their head and their legs or that sort of thing. Mostly respiratory. You'll see it respiratory. They'll have trouble breathing, sneezing, any of sort of those types of things. And you might see, because they're not getting enough oxygen, their skin and their comb or wattle is kind of a blue or purplish color. And then it can be a digestive issue as well. And so you'll see maybe some abnormal feces and that sort of thing.
Okay, so obviously this leads to mortality within our chickens, right? There's no cure or anything like that.
Right.
So people should call the Department of Ag if there's any concern that they might have it, is that?
Yeah, so it can act very quickly. It's a very virulent disease, so very, as Barry Whitworth would say, very mean disease. And so chickens could be acting a little strange in the morning and be deceased by the evening. And so, yeah, calling your extension educator, the state veterinarian. We work very closely, Extension works very closely with the state veterinarian, Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, to answer any of the questions. We have several numbers to call, but just get some input. Not all deaths are avian influenza related.
Right. Chickens are kind of low on the pecking order.
They do have some issues, and you know, baby chicks, probably not going to see those issues as much with baby chicks, but it's good to be, to know.
Right.
If you're not keeping your chickens outside, you're minimizing the risk, and so a lot of death can be minimized.
But this is actually kind of reduced kind of the shows, the chicken shows you might be able to attend, and I know we're not seeing the baby chicks at the different feed stores as much as we used to either.
Yeah, they have really kind of put a halt to that. The stores have been able to sell what they had, but they're not bringing any more in. If producers want to still get chicks, they can for personal use, but I would encourage them to seek out any sort of chick producer that's a NPIP, National Poultry Improvement Plan certified, and so that's just a plan that helps those types of breeders minimize disease, and they work through a plan, and they have a biosecurity plan. And that
so really prevention's the best thing to get us through this right now? Is that?
Yes, prevention is the key. Doing the things we talked about, keeping things clean, minimizing any sort of rodents or wild birds into your feed that you store, and maybe cleaning a little bit more often. If you need help learning how to keep things sanitized, that can be kind of weird sometimes. Bleach doesn't always do the trick, and so we have other methods to keep things clean. So talk to your county extension educator, and we can work through that. The initial bird that they found was a wild duck here in Oklahoma, and so that's kind of how it was initiated here in the state.
Okay, so no reason for panic or an alarm, but just be aware and be judicious about watching your birds.
Right. Our food supply is safe. Cook your meat and your eggs to the appropriate temperature, and just kind of keep your birds safe and away from other wild birds, and I think we'll be okay.
All right, thank you so much, Dana. Appreciate it.
Yep.
We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.